reading some amazing Spider-Man. It's a fantastic comic, one of my favorite comics ever. And I'm not too familiar with the older stuff. I've read a few chapters when I was younger, when I was 13, and I loved it. And I'm ready to read it again with some more knowledge of the series because I've been reading this comic and for the last some more 15 years or so. Okay, so let's put this on full screen. I am using Comixology because I love it. It's fantastic. You can flick through the comics in guided view, and they are perfectly optimized for an excellent reading experience. I'm not advertising them. I'm not endorsed in any way with the company of Comixology. Okay, let's check what's going on. Do I have? Who cares how many viewers I have? I need to keep the stream open though. The chat open so we can see. I can see who's talking. I can look who's talking and talk to them. I need to make the chat pop out. Okay, so let's just do this. Sorry everyone, I know it's terribly boring, but it's the technical details which we must sort out, which I must sort out. And I'm the only viewer here at the moment, so like, who cares? Nolimitstream. Oh, we've got some people. That's from the last. Wait, are you still online? I can't see anything. Oh, that's from. Wait, is that from now or yesterday? Yes, we've got a lot of members. Hi everyone. I'm sorry, I've not been checking the chat. Okay, so it's perfect now. I'm still online. Thank you guys. Thank you, little buddies. Raging Smurfon and Owen. John and Owen. Thanks, guys. I'm going to start the reading. It says I'm away. I'm not away. I'm online. Online, damn it. Okay, one person watching now. I was being a bit mistaken and looking at yesterday's chat. But hello, one person. I'm going to read some Spider-Man. It's an excellent comic. Perhaps you've heard of it. Let me just pop this out. Oh, let's see. Pop out. Okay. Got the chat. I've got a text, possibly from a friend. I'm not talking about the cha-cha slide. I'm sorry. I referenced a line from the comic in the beginning. Okay. So let's look at this cover. This cover is illustrated by Jack Kirby, not by Steve Ditko, who died the other day. It was really sad. Well, I didn't feel particularly sad because he lived till 90 years old. The game, but it's a bit of a shame because he helped create one of my favorite characters, and we need to experience this together. I just lost the game. Thanks, Sarah, for making me lose the game and impersonating me. So let's start. Let's flick open the page. I'm drinking today some iced green tea. It's not urine. It's iced green tea. If this were urine, I'd be very worried because this isn't a suitable color for it, I think. It's hecka good. Okay. So, though the world may mock Peter Parker, the timid teenager, it will soon marvel at the awesome might of Spider-Man. It's a bit of a worrying thing to say. It sounds like he's a bit power crazed and power hungry. Let's check it out. And also an important message to you from the editor about the new Amazing. So this series was cancelled. This was the last issue in the Amazing Fantasy comic, and it saved it. Had to buy some bottles of water to keep the fridge, so I don't keep having to make ice. Thanks for the advice. You gotta have a BOW, a bottle of water. It's fantastic. If you don't have water, BOW, that's no problem. I can be strangely practical sometimes, but not often. I wouldn't bank on it all of the time. See, it's weird. It doesn't feature in the viewer list, Sarah. It only features moderators. Very strange. Okay, let's flick through. Is it? Yes, it's in automatic view. So here's what the references do. Okay, so we got the first page. Like costume heroes? Confidentially, we in the comic mag business refer to them as long underwear characters. And, as you know, they're a dime a dozen. But we think you might find our Spider-Man just a bit different. That's one of the few times that Spider-Man is not hyphenated. I don't like that. So, there's Peter Parker there. He's looking a bit upset. He has the same haircut and glasses as me. Wait, it didn't have the same glasses, and there's Spider-Man in the background. So, say, gang, we need one more guy for the dance. How about Peter Parker over there? Are you kidding? That bookworm wouldn't know a cha-cha from a waltz. Peter Parker, he's Midtown High's only professional wallflower. So that guy there is Flash Thompson. He bullies Peter Parker. And he actually becomes a really good character about 200 or so issues into The Amazing Spider-Man. At the moment, nah. As you may have gathered, Peter Parker was far from being the biggest man on campus. But his Uncle Ben thought he was a very special lad. He wouldn't know the cha-cha slide from a cha-cha waltz. You're not fooling me, Petey. I know you're awake and it's time for school. Gosh, Uncle Ben, you're worse than a room full of alarm clocks. I love how old and classic America this is. It's great. Uncle Ben looks like he's 100 years old when Steve Ditko draws him, unfortunately. But Aunt May looks even older. As for Pete's Aunt May, she thought the sun rose and set upon her nephew. I cooked your favorite breakfast, Petey. Wheat cakes. Don't fatten him up too much, dear. I can hardly out-wrestle him now. Wheat cakes. Like, are they supposed to be pancakes? I suppose in the 60s, they may have not had pancakes. I don't know why. The faculty at Midtown High was also fond of the clean-cut, hard-working, honest student. Keep up the good work, Parker, and you're sure to rate a scholarship when you graduate. It's probably due to rationing. They used wheat cakes instead. I'll do my best, sir. But alas, other teenagers can... I love how that's hyphenated. They hyphenated everything in the 60s. That's why Spider-Man still has a hyphen in his name to this day. Can sometimes, unwittingly, be so very cruel to a shy young man. Sally, I was, wondering if you're busy tonight. Peter, for the upteenth time, you're just not my type. Not when dreamboats like Flash Thompson are around. I admire your good taste, though. Get lost, bookworm. Ah, Flash Thompson. I love how he's referred to as a dreamboat. He's wearing a jumper that has the first letter of his name, his last name on it. That's pretty lame. His name's Eugene, by the way. His first name. But, yeah, it's odd. Look, there's a great new exhibit at the Science Hall tonight. Would any of you like to go with me? Science Hall, ha! You stick to science, son. We'll take the chicks. So in America, if you refer to someone as son, I've learned this from American friends. If you refer to someone as son, it's like really patronizing. So I've jokingly said, hey, son, and it's really upset American people. So don't upset American people unless they are noobs like Donald Trump. You could upset him. It's fine. Hold on a second. I'm getting texts. I need to turn the volume off on my phone. Yes, for some, being a teenager has many heartbreaking moments. See you around, bookworm. Give our regards to the Atom Smashers, Peter. Atom Smashers sounds like an awesome name for a band. I'd definitely enjoy seeing some Atom Smashers as I rationed my wheat cakes. Oh. Someday I'll show them. Someday they'll be sorry. Sorry that they laughed at me. So Peter Parker, unfortunately, sounds like a bit of an insult at the moment. He changes. He gets better. It takes him some time, but he's a bit selfish when the comic starts out. I mean, not understandably at all, but he's not really cool yet, unfortunately. And you could be cool if you dress like this. It's your attitude that makes you cool. That's what Peter Parker needs to learn. It takes him a few things to realize that, though. And a few minutes later, Peter Parker forgets the taunts of his classmates as he is transported to another world, the fascinating world of atomic science. And now for a demonstration of how we can control radioactive rays here in the laboratory. But as the experiment begins, no one notices a tiny spider descending from the ceiling on an almost invisible strand of web. A spider whom fate has given a starring, if brief, role to play in the drama we call life. I love how dramatic the narration is. Stanley sure knew you how to write melodrama. Accidentally absorbing a fantastic amount of radioactivity, the dying insect in sudden shock bites the nearest living thing. at the split second before life ebbs from its radioactive body. Ow! A spider! It bit me! But why is it burning so? Why is it glowing that way? My head, it feels strange. I need some air. Looks as though our experiment unnerved young Parker. Too bad. He must have a weak stomach. See, even the science guys are bullying him. That's a bit mean. Come on, guys. What's happening to me? I feel different, as though my entire body was charged with some fantastic energy. Um, his fingers are yellow for some reason. I think they did a really good job of preserving the colors for this edition because I downloaded some scans for free earlier. I paid for these ones, but I downloaded some for free and it didn't look anywhere near as good as these well preserved ones. They look so great. Wrapped in his thoughts, Peter doesn't hear the which narrowly misses him until the last instant, and then, unnoticed by the riders, he unthinkingly leaps to safety. But what a leap it is! That was one egghead who won't daydream anymore when he crosses the street. You can say that again. There's no one driving that car. I guess you can see the silhouette there. And I love that face. It looks like it's having a good time. What's come over me? I'm scaling this wall just as easily as I can walk. Mommy, look at the man walking up the side of the building. That's the last horror movie I take you to, young man. It's incredible. I reached the roof in just a few seconds. What's this? I crushed this steel pipe as though it were paper. I love it. As though it were paper. So, Spider-Man's strength is either exaggerated or really limited depending on who's writing it, but that's pretty powerful to crush a steel pipe without thinking. It's the spider. It has to be. Somehow, in some miraculous way, his bite has transferred his own power to me. How'd he know the spider was a he? It could have been a she. I can walk down this cable as effortlessly as a spider can glide along its web. I've got to have time to think. I've got to plan what to do with this unbelievable ability which fate has given me. So we know that it's not going to go so well. A few minutes later, this will be a good chance to test my power again. $100 to the man who can stay in the ring 3 minutes with Crusher Hogan. They look like Pokemon. He looks like Pokemon with that grin. Filled with excitement, Pete races back home and I put on some old clothes and leave my glasses here. But what if I fail? I don't want to be a laughingstock. I'll find some way to disguise myself. So this is like the first time you see that Peter Parker is actually a pretty good looking guy. But when Steve Ditko draws him, he kind of exaggerates a lot of things like the frown lines on his head. The glasses weren't doing him any favors. But he keeps those for a few chapters, so enjoy. A few minutes later, I'll try for the $100, Crusher. Whoa, if it ain't a little masked marvel. Step up, sucker. That does sound like actual wrestling dialogue from these days. I'm quite happy with that. Now, just relax, shorty. I'll try to make this as painless as possible. And then he jumps over him. It works. I have the speed, the agility, the very strength of a gigantic spider. Hey! You don't really see many people talking to themselves in the world of professional wrestling. You do on Twitch, though. Put me down. You win. You win. You're not human. Nobody can do that. Wanna bet? Greatest act I've ever seen. Sensational, fantastic, and that mask image just gives him the right touch of mystery. He was terrific. The mask isn't very good. It looks like a flannel. That masked character might be just what I've been looking for. Listen, friend, I'm a TV producer, and with that act of yours, I can make you a fortune. And keep the mask angle. It's great showmanship. Here's my card. Call me. You'd be a smash on Ed Sullivan's show. Thanks. I don't know if Ed Sullivan was a real person, because there was a comic that was actually set at the time of Spider-Man's origin quite recently, and they mentioned Ed Sullivan's show. I think this, if he is a real person, would be updated to something more current. because apparently the Marvel Comics work that 1 year in comics world is the equivalent of 3 years in the real world. So this comic came out in 1962. It's now 2018. That's been about 56 years. So 56 divided by 3 is. I cannot calculate that off the top of my head. Let me see. 56 divided by 3. That's about 18 years. So Spider-Man was 15 when it started. That should mean that he was 15 when he started, at about 28 years. So he should be about 43 now. I don't know if that's accurate. He seems a bit younger than that. I don't know, because they did change the whole continuity. But let's not worry about the small things. Later at home again. Showmanship. He hasn't seen anything yet. Since I have the powers of a spider, I'll design myself a spider costume and... Oh, hi, Aunt May. You looked a little tired, Petey, so we brought you some crackers and milk. Crackers and milk, bless 'em, if they only knew. I guess it does seem like they're rationing here. Now let's see. The spider needs a web. This little device should do just the trick. I'll fasten one to each arm. It will operate by the slightest pressure of any finger. I'll need a name. Well, I guess Spider-Man is as good as any. Looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. So they laughed at me for being a bookworm, eh? Well, only a science major could have created a device like this. With strong liquid cement at the end, I can pull myself up anywhere with my little web, and my costume is thin enough to wear, unseen under my street clothes. I really appreciate how Peter made the web. It's insane to think that he's made something that is better than most scientists in the Marvel Universe. I love that. Like, it's better than anything Iron Man made at this time, but his costume looked crap. It looked like he had a bucket head. Okay, world, better hang on to your hat. Here comes the Spider-Man. It's not hyphenated, it's a misspelling. Part 2. Now, anybody with the intelligence of a 7-year-old knows that if a man appeared on TV who seemed to be more spider than human, he would be an overnight sensation, especially when his feats were performed without the help of trick photography. Well, you can just imagine how the public reacted to Spider-Man. I love how out of date that is. Nowadays, it would just appear on YouTube and it would be viral for like a few weeks. Cynical? I'm seeing it with my own 2 eyes and I still don't believe it. I'm sorry for the American accents, everyone. What zoomed in there? Sure, they look amazed. Incredible. Awestruck. Wouldn't you? After all, when was the last time you saw a man with his own fantastic spider web? Okay, Spider-Man, cut. I'm trying to remember his accent. It's like a Louisiana accent here. That's enough. Don't show him too much. Leave him begging for more. As his first TV spectacular ends, Peter Parker breathes the first sweet scent of fame and success. I'm from Life. Is that a magazine, or is he... I guess. We'll pay any price for a picture spread. Sign with me. I'll put you in the movies. Wait, we want an interview. See my agent, boys. I'm busy. Phew, rid of them at last. Hey, what's going on? So this is the turning point where... It's the point where he's become a bit selfish. He's let his ego get to the top of his head. And don't worry, you're not going to see this for a long time. Stop him. Thief, stop him. If he makes it to the elevator, he'll get away. Made it. I'm safe now. That cop can never get down to the lobby as fast as I can in this high-speed express elevator. Lucky that goon in a costume didn't stop me. What's with you, mister? All you had to do was trip him, or hold him for just a minute. Sorry, pal, that's your job. I'm through being pushed around by anyone. From now on, I just look out for number 1. That means me. Oh, sad. It's really upsetting to see him speak like that. We know the real Spider-Man, though. We know it's not like that anymore. I ought to run you in. Save your breath, buddy. I've got things to do. So he just walked away from being arrested there. It's interesting. A few hours later, Peter, you know that microscope you've always wanted? Your uncle and I brought it for you this afternoon. Gosh, that's terrific. You're the greatest family any fella ever had. They're the only ones who've been kind to me. I'll see it to them that they're always happy, but for the rest of the world can go hang for all I care. In the days that follow, the Spider-Man becomes the sensation of the nation. And he's doing stuff there. Let's move this out of the way. Oh, Spider-Man plays to a packed house. Who is the Spider-Man? Who indeed? And one evening, as Peter Parker returns home from a personal appearance, a police car in front of our house. What can be wrong? Bad news, son. Your uncle has been shot. Murdered. Uncle Ben? Dead? No. No, it can't be. Who did this? Who shot him? It was a burglar. Your uncle surprised him. But don't worry, lad. We got him trapped. He's in the old Acme warehouse at the waterfront. We'll get him. Your aunt is next door. The neighbors are looking after her. Wait! I've got to go. I've got to get him. It's Jim Carrey himself. Jim Carrey would make a fantastic Spider-Man. I wish. Hi there, Freyroon. I think he's going to play Dr. Robotnik in the Sonic movie, actually, incidentally. I've got to get him. I've got to get him. I know the old Acme warehouse. It's been deserted for years. A killer could hold off an army in that gloomy old place. But he wouldn't hold off Spider-Man. The warehouse is at the other side of town. But I'll be there in no time. Meanwhile, he's in there somewhere. But he'll pick us off like flies if we charge him. All I gotta do is hold him off till the moon goes down. Then I ought to be able to slip away in the dark. You'll never escape again, murderer. I want pictures of Eggman. I think it's going to be a CGI movie, but it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it. Huh? What the? Surprised to see me? Not half as surprised as you're going to be. Gotta get away. This was before Spider-Man made any wisecracks. It takes him a few issues to warm to that. Gotta get away, gotta hide. I must be seeing things. There's no place on Earth where you can hide from me. First my web will relieve you of your gun. And then my fist will do the rest. I love that panel. It looks... This... They stopped doing this after this issue. This is the only time you can see the eyes through Spider-Man's mask, and it doesn't really work. The face. It's... Oh no, it can't be. It's the fugitive who ran past me. The one I didn't stop when I had the chance. I hate to do it, but we'll have to rush him now. Can't take a chance of him slipping by in the dark. Captain, look! It's him! On a spider's web. And a short distance away. My fault. All my fault. If only I had stopped him when I could have. But I didn't. And now, Uncle Ben is dead. And a lean, silent figure slowly slowly fades into the gathering darkness, aware, at last, that in this world, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. And so a legend is born, and a new name is added to the roster of those who make the world of fantasy the most exciting realm of all. Be sure to see the next issue of Amazing Fantasy for further amazing exploits of America's most different new teenage idol, Spider-Man. So, yeah, Amazing Fantasy didn't continue after this. They decided that Spider-Man was just too interesting to pass up. That's the end of the first chapter. So, Amazing Spider-Man. You might recognize this cover from the episode of Simpsons where someone buys Amazing Spider-Man and rips it up in front of the comic book guy. I love that scene. The Fantastic Four think I'm trapped, but they don't suspect my real power. So, Amazing Spider-Man used to have 2 stories in it. Now it's the much shorter 1 story. I got issue 801 today, and it's only got like 20 or so pages. It's really good, by the way. If you've never bought a Spider-Man comic before, I recommend getting issue 801. And this is issue 1 of Spider-Man. Freak, public menace. Sure, you've read many stories about many different magazine heroes. But there's never been a story like this before, because there's never been a hero like Spider-Man. It's not hyphenated again. It really irritates me when I see Spider-Man not hyphenated. Our scene is the bedroom of Peter Parker, the teenage student whom many consider to be a shy bookworm, but oh, if they only knew. Uncle Ben is dead, and all because I was too late to save him. My Spider-Man costume. I wish there were no such thing. Marvel certainly doesn't wish that. It all started when I was bitten by a radioactive spider, and I found myself possessed of a spider's powers, so I designed a costume to go into show business and cash in. Ouch. But while I was busy showing off, an armed burglar fired one fatal shot at Uncle Ben when he was surprised robbing our house. As soon as I learned what had happened, I sped through the city via my spider's web, lusting for vengeance. He won't escape Spider-Man, and I soon caught the killer and turned him over to the police. Got you. You ain't human. And now Uncle Ben is gone, and Aunt May and I are alone. And what's worst, without Uncle Ben, we've no money to pay our bills. Please give me a little more time. I'll pay the rent next week, if you'll only wait. And so, Aunt May, there's only one thing to do. I've got to quit school and get a job. No, Peter, you mustn't. Your uncle always dreamed of you being a scientist someday. You must continue your studies. But I've got to help Aunt May somehow. Wait, with my powers as Spider-Man, I can do anything. I can go anywhere. No one, nothing can stop me. Any amount of money could be mine, just for the taking. But no, what am I thinking of? I'm no criminal. I'm not a thief. Besides, if I were ever arrested and imprisoned, it would break Aunt May's heart. No, there's only one other way. I've got to perform again. I've got to bring my Spider-Man act before the public once more. I'll call a booking agent tonight. A few days later, at school. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. You don't really expect it. It's like just seeing images of Spider-Man stealing stuff and robbing banks is hilarious. I considered it. What I like about Spider-Man is people do think that Peter Parker's character is quite constant, but he actually went through quite a lot of character development. It took him quite a long time before he was even like a decent guy. I mean, he's getting there, but he wanted to rob a bank. Nice. Hey gang, look, Spider-Man's going to put on a show at the town hall tonight, and admission is only $1. Let's all go. Count me out, kids. I can't make it. I don't know why he's, fair enough he can't make it, but it's enough to be like that. It could just be like, oh, I'm a bit busy. Don't worry about it. We might have known he'd rather study. Who needs the walking bookworm anyway? It would be more fun without him. Oh, he looks a bit upset there. I guess maybe that was probably a bit of a defense mechanism from Peter. He might be afraid to get to know them a bit. It's interesting. Let's move myself. That night, as the audience is amazed by Spider-Man's prowess, none suspect the real reason that Peter Parker couldn't be in the audience. I couldn't very well be doing this act and sitting in the audience also. He could have told them he didn't want to go a bit nicer though. Oh well. Finally, after the show, it's time to pay you, Spider-Man, but I can't give you cash. I've got to give you a check, so there's a record for my taxes. What name should I write the check to? Name? I can't tell you my real name. No one must know my identity. It's just in case he does want to rob a bank, I think. Just make the check out to Spider-Man. I really like this detail, actually. It's quite funny. Okay, you're the boss, but you have a mighty tough time cashing it. A tough time cashing it? Well, we'll just see about that. I'd like to cash this check. This is like the kind of cutaway you'd expect in a comedy. I love it. I'd like to cash this check. I have to see some identification. What about my costume? Don't be silly. Anyone can wear a costume. Do you have a social security card or a driver's license in the name of Spider-Man? No, I don't. Can you imagine that, having a driver's license as like Spider-Man? But as Spider-Man finds that he cannot cash his desperately needed check. Just across town, a man at a typewriter is making still more trouble for him. He's making still more trouble. That doesn't sound grammatically correct. It's brilliant. It's like, I don't have a driver's license for Spider-Man. It's brilliant. When I'm through with this article, Spider-Man will be run out of town. And then, the next night, might as well go on back where you came from, Spider-Man. There'll be no show tonight or any night. What? Why? What happened? This happened. Look at this editorial. The paper has everyone so steamed up they'll probably toss you in jail if you show your face. Or your mask. But why? What have they got against me? What have I done? But not satisfied with merely writing editorials, J. Jonah Jameson, publisher of the powerful Daily Bugle, delivers lectures all over town. We cannot allow that masked menace to take the law into his own hands. He's a bad influence on our youngsters. I can't do his voice. Yet, children may try to imitate his fantastic feats. Think of what would happen if they made a hero out of this lawless, inhuman monster. We must not permit it. It does not permit. I say that Spider-Man must be outlawed. There is no place for such a dangerous creature in our fair city. The youth of this nation must learn to respect real heroes, men such as my son, John Jameson, the test pilot, not selfish freaks such as Spider-Man, a masked menace who refuses to let us know his true identity. It's such a leap from here to issue 800. I'm just saying, it's brilliant. I don't get it. How do other superhuman guys like the Fantastic Four and the Ant-Man get away with it? Nobody bothers them, and they always seem to make enough dough. Bah, I don't even believe that there is a Spider-Man. It's all a publicity stunt. Makes sense? Well, if I can't make a living as Spider-Man, the only other thing for me to do is to find a part-time job. I'll take a look through the wanted ads. But again, Peter Parker meets with frustration. Sorry, Sonny, I ain't looking for a school kid. The job I advertise is for a man. But extra, John Jameson about to orbit Earth in a rocket. Say, that looks like it is. It's Aunt May. I wonder where she's going. Oh no, she's pawning her jewellery. She must be desperate for money. But she doesn't want me to know. She doesn't want to worry me. I love that panel of her walking with the money. It's like, without the context, what would it be saying? For me, she's doing it. The newspaper guy admits that Fantastic Four and Ant-Man's a thing, but thinks Spider-Man's a stunt. Well, like, I know that Fantastic Four and Ant-Man were a lot more public about the stuff they did. Spider-Man was on TV, I guess, as an entertainer. I don't think the Fantastic Four ever did that, but it's a bit lame, like for him to think Spider-Man is a stunt in a world where the Fantastic Four and Ant-Man are there. I think Iron Man came a few years after this, but I know definitely Captain America was about. So I think Iron Man was around at this time, actually. Extra, John Jameson, son of the publisher of the Daily Bugle, about to orbit Earth. Extra. It's all his fault. Because of him, I can't perform in public as Spider-Man. Whose fault is he saying it is? J. Jonah Jameson? Or John Jameson? I can't pronounce their names. But I can't give up. I've got to earn money somehow. I can't let Aunt May down, even if it means the Spider-Man will again stalk the city by night. I think if he punched a wall like that, he would probably smash it. Interesting. Part 2. Next day, having nothing better to do, Peter Parker finds himself among... Nothing better to do. He needs to get money. He needs a job. He's got a lot better things to do. Where he finds himself among the spectators, anxiously awaiting the orbit flight of John Jameson. It sure must take a lot of courage to go up in one of those babies. I bet Spider-Man would think twice before volunteering for this. Huh? This ride, huh? I suppose so. Why would he think that? He's obviously already got super strength and can make webs. 15 minutes to blast off. All unauthorized personnel clear the field. I love that zoom there. This is it, John. Make your country proud of you, son. As proud as I, your father, am today. I'll do my best, Dad. I promise. Good luck to you, boy. They really hadn't decided on how on J. Jonah Jameson's look here. He doesn't have the flat top. Minutes later, the capsule with John Jameson inside is set in orbit by a perfect launch. But then, disaster strikes. A small section of the forward guidance package breaks loose from the capsule and falls into space. Without this essential guidance unit, the capsule goes into an erratic orbit, completely out of control. Something's wrong. I can't control her. This flashing red light. It could mean only one thing. I've lost the heart of the guidance device. There's no way to direct the capsule now. Meanwhile, miles away. What is it? What went wrong? Capsule is out of control, sir. Compartment 24, 3B is broken loose. Condition red. What's that? Without the missing part, he will continue to go into lower and lower orbit until he crashes to Earth. Gentlemen, we haven't much time. We must find some way to save John Jameson's life. Even though the capsule is doomed, yeah, it's doing some sick maneuvers. I love it. Like, he's a really good pilot. It well, the main rocket went into space, and he's still in Earth. He's still on Earth. He hasn't really reached space yet. It didn't work. Acting with desperate speed, the space technicians attempt to drop a steel net to catch the capsule, but with no success. A steel net. That sounds a bit dangerous. A complete miss. We've got to find a better way. Well, unsuspected by all, a better way does exist. In the form of Peter Parker, who has observed the entire dramatic event. There's only one person who can save Jameson, and that's Spider-Man. Look at his belly button. It's quite funny. I've got to reach the missile control center the fastest way, the way that only Spider-Man can take. Made it, and now we have a spare 243B guidance unit, but there is no way to get it to Jameson in time. You're wrong, there is a way. Spider-Man? Let me have the missing unit. I'll get to the capsule somehow. Very well, we have nothing to lose. There is no way we can do it. Spider-Man, bah! He's just a publicity-seeking phony. He's trying to grab a headline. What can he do? Well, apart from lift stuff, break things, travel through the air with webs, not much. Instead of flapping your lips, mister, just watch and see what I can do. Wait! The capsule is getting lower every second. I've got to reach the jet fast. Arriving at a nearby field, Spider-Man's amazing web shoots out, engulfing the god's gun hand before the sentry can fire. Halt! Identify yourself! No time for that now! Within seconds, the mighty costumed figure has commandeered a plane and a pilot as they take to the air. I'll probably be grounded forever for doing this, Spider-Man, but I got a hunch that if anybody can save that poor Joker, you're the guy. It's nice. Here comes the capsule now, but we can never catch it. We don't have to catch it. Wait, what are you going to do? I've got to hitch a ride on that thing as it passes by. This will be the first and last chance. If it doesn't work, look out below. Here goes. I hit it. Mustn't let go. Spider-Man did a lot of talking to himself back in time. Going, yeah, it'd be court-martialed. Like, he's going to go to prison, get court-martialed. It's comics, though, so he's going to be fine. I've got to pull myself up, fighting against all this wind resistance. Even my strength can just barely do it. There, I've reached it, but now the capsule is losing altitude dangerously. Can I attach the missing unit in time? It's part 3. What a lucky break. If I fit it in, it fit in place, as smooth as silk. And within the capsule under manual control again. We'll eject, shoot, and land immediately. He's safe, I did it. Spider-Man succeeded. The capsule is about to land. My boy, he's safe. This is as good a time as any for me to get off. I'll bet I'm the only living person who ever had a ride like that before. I better make myself scarce now. I'd be embarrassed if everyone wants to congratulate me and make a big fuss about what I've done. Yeah. About that. Anyway, from now on, I guess I shouldn't have any trouble about performing in public. I'll bet even Mr. Jameson himself would hire me. But when he reads the next edition of the newspaper, Peter Parker is astounded to see, oh no, it can't be. It isn't possible. Why? Why? This newspaper demands that Spider-Man be arrested and prosecuted. Wow. It was all a plot by Spider-Man to steal a spotlight from my son. I accuse Spider-Man himself of sabotaging the capsule so that the guidance unit would fall off. He has no integrity at all. I love it. Spider-Man unlawfully broke into a military base and commandeered a plane by force. Then, by means of a grandstand play, he tried to make a hero of himself, but he caused an important missile test to fail and set our space program back by many weeks. I repeat, Spider-Man is a menace to America. He also saved my son's life, but who cares about that? It's interesting here, though, because Peter did have an ulterior motive behind saving him. He saved him so that Spider-Man's reputation would be okay, so he's not quite a superhero just yet. They fear me more than ever now. Spider-Man ought to be run out of the country. And how? And finally, under pressure of the angry newspapers, continual barrage. Wanted. Caution, he is dangerous. Report him to the nearest FBI office. Spider-Man. Reward for his capture. What are the FBI going to do? We have to... What's going on? Aunt May is knitting. Oh dear, I certainly hope they find that horrible Spider-Man and lock him up before he can do any harm. I love the irony of it. And what do I do now? How can I prove I'm not dangerous? How can I convince people that I wasn't responsible for the failure of that capsule? Everything I do as Spider-Man seems to work out wrong. What good is my fantastic power if I cannot use it? Or must I be forced to become what they accuse me of being? Must I really become a menace? Perhaps that is the only course left for me. So, he's going to some dark places. And so a lonely boy sits and broods with the fate of society at stake. What will his decision be? What will Spider-Man do next? Only time will tell. The end. Okay, so that's the end of the first story in the chapter. It's only 14 pages, it felt like a bit more. And next, Spider-Man versus the Chameleon. How can you defeat a man who can change his identity before you can catch him? Perhaps you don't know the answer, but the Spider-Man was determined to find out no matter what the cost. Extra bonus extra. In the same amazing tale, you will meet America's most famous, most colorful group of super adventurers, the Fantastic Four. Yeah, the Fantastic Four. I love it. And we can't forget that John Duffy did the lettering in this issue. It's cool that Steve Ditko did the inking and the lettering himself. Though usually they would have someone penciling it and another person inking it. It's cool. We know him as Peter Palmer, the infamous misspelling here, Peter Parker. They actually referenced that in Superior Spider-Man when he was slowly losing his memory and said, "What's my name, Peter? Peter Palmer?" I loved it. Say, why didn't I think of it before? There's the way I can make some money by joining the Fantastic Four. I mean, they'd have to change the name to the Fantastic Five, but let's go with it. The Big Wheel. I can't remember the Big Wheel. Is that the Big Wheel that is created by the Tinkerer? So I think that's a bit later on in the series. The Big Wheel. I think that happened around the time that Peter Parker, the Sensational Spider-Man series, was out in the late 70s and early 80s. But we might see it soon. I know that it goes Comedian. Who's after the Comedian? I think it goes Comedian, Dr. Octopus, the Lizard. They introduced Sinister Six before, and then they bring them all together. I don't think they're together for a while, though, not till issue 49. Or issue 50, which is Spider-Man No More. I think that's when they first appear. They'll probably jump at the chance to have a teenager with superpowers working with them. It'll be a natural. Here's their private elevator, but the blamed thing isn't working. Uh-oh, I forgot. It can only be operated by one of the four using a special electronic beam. That sounds really unnecessary. Get back here, Shocker! Shocker! I remember that. That was in the cartoon when he had the Venom suit. That bit was awesome. Man, in my head, whenever I read a Spider-Man comic, he is definitely voiced by the voice actor of the cartoon because he did such a good job. That's the real Spider-Man. I was like the best voice actor. I was talking with the guy who works at the comic shop today, and he grew up watching Spider-Man in the 90s as well, and it's just like that voice is fantastic. That is the Spider-Man for me. I mean, I love the movie Spider-Man. I think the movies are like pizza. You can't have bad pizza. You can't escape me. I will chase you to the ends of the earth. That was so good, that episode. I really want to rewatch that Spider-Man cartoon. I had a great time watching it. I think the sensational Spider-Man cartoon was really good as well. Or no, Spectacular Spider-Man. I'm getting my Spider-Man mixed up. Oh man, that episode was fantastic. I was remembering the early issues where Venom appears. I think that's in Amazing Spider-Man 300, and good stuff. Well, that won't stop Spider-Man. Forcing a couple of locked doors open is mere child's play for heck. I didn't figure the elevator would be above me. No room to climb past it. Minutes later, he's Peter Palmer still. Peter Parker reaches the roof of an adjoining building. Well, I think there's one misprint where they referred to him as Superman. Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I should have thought of this right away. They'll probably be twice as impressed when they see how easily I get into their private skyscraper headquarters. Yeah, it's a really infamous misspelling. He's Peter Palmer, and they do it a lot. It's brilliant. Like, I really love when they make spelling mistakes in Spider-Man, or they misdraw him in a panel. It happens so much. Here goes nothing, and they never amended it, which I think is great. I guess if you amend it, you mess with preserving the thing, and the whole lettering, like, it gets done differently. It's also probably quite hard to find the font because this was before there were fonts. I think I don't know if it was written out in ink or typed out. I don't really know too much about that. I think they were written with ink though. Meanwhile, down below, it's the Spider-Man. What a bonus I'll get for this shot. He's heading for the Fantastic Four's headquarters. He balances himself on that strand of web like a human spider. Yeah, that's why he's called Spider-Man, I think. At that moment, an alarm rings in the ready room of the Fantastic Four. I love Mr. Fantastic. I can't ever take him seriously. The alarm! Someone is trying to sneak in. He must be some kind of nut to think he can take us by surprise. So I love that he's pointing at that piece of paper and burning it. That's really good attention to detail. There's his picture on it. Yeah, like, I can never take him seriously. I just, he's fantastic. I mean, fair enough though. He knows what he's doing with his stretchy parts. He must be some kind of nut to think he could take us by surprise. There's his picture on our viewplate. It's Spider-Man. Why didn't he phone for an appointment like anyone else? Because he's a teenage cornball show-off, just like the Torch. How obliging of them to leave a window open for me. This is a breeze. This is before Spidey and Human Torch were best bros. Activate defense measure B, just to be safe. Greetings, group. You shouldn't make it so easy for people to drop in on you. Got news for you, loudmouth. It ain't that easy. What, a plexiglass cage dropped from the ceiling? I get the impression that that's like it's kind of like the plexiglass you would get in a water cooler or something. It doesn't sound very impressive when I say it's a plexiglass cage. This gizmo may keep out the riffraff, gruesome, but it's a joke to me. That device cost us thousands. If you wreck that device we have used to trap you, we're going to be very upset. Don't worry, Rubberface, this squirt's gonna be taught some manners right now. Ow, you big ape. Who do you think you're pushing around? Did you forget you're messing with a guy who has the proportionate strength of a spider? So I'm reading this is the dust cover, I've got it downstairs, the Roger Stern Spider-Man comics at the moment, from the 80s. And he has to write, he's got the proportionate strength of a spider in every issue. He's done it in like 20 issues so far. For crying out loud! That's what I get for pulling my punch on account of his size. Now hold it, son. Or he's patronizing him, he's calling him son. We don't want to fight with any strangers. At least, not till we know what we're fighting about. Who's fighting? Just consider this a little exhibition. They only want to fight people they know. It's fair enough. He got my hat. I can't take it seriously. He caught my hand in his net, in that net of his. He certainly does live up to his name. Like, what the heck? Wait, so it's like, so this is his hand, this is his other hand. Where's his body? Is his body in the web? Oh no, so that's his leg. I don't know. I don't know how Reed Richard works. While invisible, I might be able to get that rope from our over. Get this rope over our impetuous young friend. My spider instinct senses. Spider instinct senses. Wow. My spider instinct senses danger behind me. I have to move fast. I don't think you can move very fast if it's called spider instinct senses. Who tossed that rope? I don't see anyone. It must be the invisible girl. She's the invisible woman. Invisible girl. Different name. And now she's spinning around. Well, I'll just give her a whirl for her money. I love it. That's it, you animated insect. Fun's over. I'll settle you now. Flame on! He's got me in a circle of flame. Well, I'll just jump over that clown's little trap and keep out of reach until his flame dies down. Then it'll be my turn. Hey, stay still, darn it. Okay, I would love to read the Fantastic Four from the 60s. It's just so wholesome and weird. Okay, that's it. No more fun and games, fella. Someone might get hurt. Now, suppose you tell us what you're here for. I can't take him seriously at all. Ever. Hey, get out of the way, Killjoy. Give me another crack at him. It's about time, someone asked me. It's like, what? What? I came up here to join with you. I want to be a member of the Fantastic Four, the fifth member of the Great Wall of Richard. that is the best. I love how the thing looks as well. It's brilliant. I used to love the Fantastic Four cartoon. I used to watch it on Fox Kids all the time. It was on at like 12 in the evening, and I would always stay up to watch it. I think it was on after Iron Man, and like they showed Spider-Man, Iron Man, and then Fantastic Four was the last one. I think they even showed Ghost Rider after that, but I didn't tend to stay up for Ghost Rider. I came here to join with you. I want to be a member of the Fantastic Four. The cartoon, really, like, I noticed that the animation, like, it does look a bit dated. What about the dialogue? Like, did that age well too? Because I know the dialogue for the 1994 Spider-Man is just, it's hilarious. It's not like sometimes with 60s Spider-Man and 80s Spider-Man, I do need to look up the references. But for 90s Spider-Man, I know all of the references. Like when he turns into Aerosmith, he wears Aerosmith's clothes when testing out the Venom costume. That was hilarious. The Iron Man cartoon had some fantastic music, but I don't think that aged very well. I wonder if they did a Captain America cartoon. They probably did, like a long time ago. So now let's get down to business. How much does this job pay? I figure I'm worth your top salary. I knew it. That kook has rocks in his head. Afraid you made a mistake, Spider-Man. We're a non-profit organization. We pay no salaries or bonuses. Any profit we make goes into scientific research. You came to the wrong place, pal. This isn't General Motors. You gotta admit, you gotta respect Spider-Man's confidence. He's just going in, asking for their top salary. We just keep enough money to pay our expenses. Every other cent goes into developing the most effective crime-fighting apparatus we can create. Besides, aren't you wanted by the police? This isn't Outlaws Anonymous. Oh, so mean. Guys, I might have known. They're just like all the rest, ready to believe the worst of anyone. Okay, keep me out of your group. Who needs you? I'll make you guys look like pikers. Pikers? What? What does that mean? I'm gonna Google that. Like, that doesn't sound good. Oh, Spider-Man would be 33 years old by now. I calculated. I miscounted. A gambler who only makes small bets, or in Australia, a person who withdraws from a plan, commitment, etc. So, in that case, yeah, In that case, wouldn't Spider-Man be the piker because he's withdrawing from his own plan? It's different in Australia. Wait, come back! Too bad he left so suddenly. Perhaps we could have helped him. After you called him a criminal. Come on, guys. We got enough problem kids to worry about now. Somehow, I have a feeling we'll be hearing more from that young man in the future. I like how he just subtly burned Johnny Storm there. You can't burn what is already made of fire. And now our scene shifts to a defense installation at the edge of town. With my multi-pocket disguise vest, it will be an easy matter for the chameleon to become you, friend janitor. Minutes later, so far so good. Disguised as the janitor, it was easy to gain access to this restricted area. And now another fast change, and I will take the identity of Professor Newton. I don't know where his accent is from. Ha! Nothing can stop the chameleon. With the right disguise, I can steal anything from anywhere unchallenged. That night at the chameleon's hideout, that is a creepy room. Whoa. The Iron Curtain countries will pay us a fortune for these plans. A TV news bulletin. What plans are they for? The entire city is wondering why Spider-Man visited the Fantastic Four today. No comment, says the FF. Rumors are flying all over New York. Unofficial sources claim Spider-Man is being considered for membership in the FF. Nonsense, claims the police commissioner. I think Spider-Man's visit is of interest to the chameleon, too. He refers to himself in the third person, so you know he's a bad guy. Yes, indeed, very interesting. Grand jury requests immediate probe. That doesn't sound good. I wouldn't enjoy an immediate probe. The FBI has been alerted for possible action. There is only one reason Spider-Man would want to join the Fantastic Four. Being sought by the police, there's no way for him to earn a legitimate living. He must be desperate for money, and this is where I come in. Spider-Man will make the perfect fool guy for me. When I steal the second half of these missile defense plans, I'll have him put the police off my trail. So the chameleon in the comics, for a long time, his ability was to just be able to impersonate people. So he would wear masks. Like in the Spider-Man comic, the cartoon made this better because he could actually transform into people. But I don't think he ever had that power in the comics. I remember the issue of Peter Parker Spider-Man where he could change in an instant. I think he might have gained that power later on in the comics. But he didn't originally, he just put on masks. Spider-Man has the powers and instincts of a spider, so I will send him a message that only his spider senses would be able to pick up. It's amazing how he knows that. He has spider sense. Calling Spider-Man. Meet me on the roof of Lark Building at 10 tonight. It will be very profitable for you. This is kind of an ass pull, but it worked. And miles away at a neighborhood museum where Peter Palmer again. I guess it's still issue 1. The best place to spell your character's name wrong. Someone is trying to contact Spider-Man. I can sense the frequency waves, but who? Well, no matter who it is, I can't afford to pass up a chance for profit. I'll just leave my clothes up here and then. A few minutes before 10 p.m. Almost time for me to take over the elevator night shift. Yes, it is time, but not for you. For the chameleon. I'm loving the chameleon. He's so dramatic. It's fantastic. After binding and gagging the real elevator operator, the bogus one brazenly takes his place. I'll relieve you now. It's about time. I'm Bush. That could take a completely different meaning if we wanted it to. Then, once inside the elevator, so far my timetable is running right to the split second. Now to change to my Spider-Man, guys. And finally, Spider-Man, how did you get in? What do you want? Those missile defense plans which you are holding. I can't believe it. You, a traitor. Wait, my web will keep you a prisoner until I can escape. I love that he's got a web gun. This artificial web isn't as strong as Spider-Man's real one, but no one will notice the difference. It's a bit off-brand. Seconds later, help, police! Spider-Man's heading for the roof with stolen plans. Help! He finally broke free. Good. It's all going according to plan. Here's my ship. I can't fail now. I'll be gone just before the real Spider-Man gets here. I'm sorry, I won't be there to hear Spider-Man try to talk himself out of my trap. Strange. Oh, it's different. Spider-Man's talking now. Strange, that helicopter must have just left the roof I'm heading for. I wonder who sent for me. Nobody's waiting on the roof. Look, there he is. Free, Spider-Man. We want those secret plans you stole. Plans? Stole? I'm beginning to smell a rat. I don't know what this is all about, but nobody's framing me for anything. That will hold you until you can get away. When I looked at this earlier, I was like, are they going to suffocate in there? I guess they've got gaps to breathe, but oh, he doesn't normally cover their faces. What a fool I was. The message was a trick to pin a crime on me, and I fell for it. But who could have? Wait! That helicopter, the pilot, is the one the police really want. If he hasn't flown too far, I could use my spider's sensors to tune in on the ship, get its location. Got him! He's out towards the waterfront. I've got to stop him. The spider sense, they really didn't know how it worked in the beginning. Well, if I'm going to catch me a speeding whirlybird, there's only one way to do it. And that is to get a real fast start like this. Yeah. He doesn't do that anymore so much. Parachute's a good idea. He's almost reached the sea, but I can make a parachute out of my web and float down to that motorboat below. I'm not licked yet. Minutes later, I'm just in time. There's the chopper, and there's a red sub surfacing to meet it. Where did he get the boat from? But with my web over the coning tower, they won't be able to open the hatch. Our hatch is jammed. It won't open. How will we get the plans, comrade? Forget the plans. We've been seen. Submerge. Now to find out who framed me. Spider-Man? But how? I can't shake him off, no matter how I maneuver. He ripped off the door with his bare hands. End of the line for you, commie. Wow. Commie. Head the ship towards shore, and I mean now. Brilliant. That's hilarious. Okay, Comixology, don't freeze on me now. This is an unfortunate side effect of using Comixology. Brilliant service, as though it may be. It does freeze sometimes. Let's see what happens. I think I need to F10 this and reopen it. That should do the trick. It has not done the trick. Let's wait a moment. There we go. Guided view. So end of the line for you, commie. Head the ship towards the shore, and I mean now. And then, before the police have left the Lark building roof, how does he know he's a communist? Oh well. Here's the guy you're looking for, the guy who stole these plans and impersonated me. But in the next split second, the wily chameleon drops a tiny smoke pellet and breaks free in the confusion. Before they know what happened, I would have taken a new disguise and be free. Spider senses. Yeah, maybe the spider senses told him that he was a communist. That's how he knows. The spider sense in the 60s was broken. It could do everything. Oh, I need to hold on a second. Let's make it full screen. What? It's not. I think it's F11. Yeah. He can't get out of the building. All exits are guarded. Search every room. Let them search. I knew this disguise would come in handy. Who would ever suspect a policeman? I'll look in here, man. I'll take this corridor, and I'll head for the street under your very noses. Looks like a chef outfit. But again, the chameleon has reckoned without Spider-Man's supernatural spider's instincts. Spider sense is so broken. That tingle. I feel my quarry is close, within striking distance. He's wise to me. If I can just pull this fuse. One of these cops must be a phony. Spider sense nowadays is like, I always figure that anxiety is like spider sense. If I ever get anxiety, I'm like, that's my spider sense. It's warning me. One of these cops must be a phony. He's doused the lights, but that won't stop me. I can still sense him in the dark. I'll just shoot my web over. Oh no, I'm all out of the special fluid. Don't call it special fluid, Spider-Man. I've got to reach that. Just take a quick sip of iced green tea. I've got to reach that exit before he does. This is the safest way. That figure, leaving the others. It's him! But as the lights go on again, the chameleon resorts to one last desperate ruse. Help! Grab him! It's the chameleon disguised as Spider-Man again. What? Oh no, you don't. You're not gonna fool us that way a second time. Wait, he's lying. I am Spider-Man. It worked. Now to slip away. They're not really strong enough to keep him, but in a fit of white-hot fury, the powerful Spider-Man wrenches free of the startled officer's grasp and look at him go up that wall. He was the real Spider-Man. He must have gone up that wall really quickly. Every time I try to help, I get in worse trouble. Well, they can catch that spy themselves now. Wait, that's kind of exactly what he didn't want to do in the first chapter. Oh well. And within minutes, catch him, they do. Here he is, Captain. We spotted him by the torn uniform. I could see his other disguise beneath it. Blast it, I must have ripped it in my scuffle with Spider-Man. Then, and as the comedian is led away, her lone figure loses himself in the shadows of the night. Nothing turns out right. I wish I'd never gotten my superpowers. Okay. Later, as the late editions come out, 4 famous figures ponder the case of the amazing Spider-Man. Reed, he's so powerful and so confused. What if Spider-Man ever turns his superpowers against the law? That'd probably be their fault. Yeah, if a teenager could be so blamed strong, how strong will he be when he gets older? We won't have to worry about him. Won't we, Johnny? I wonder. And the whole world will have to wonder until our next great issue. Don't miss it. The end. Oh, it's the Vulture in the next one, and the terrible Tinkerer, who doesn't reappear until... When's he reappear? Let me see. He's in this one. I think issue... It's the one with the Martians on the cover. Issue... Hold on. Well, one of the 200s. It's like issue 210. So it's the only time you see him for a while. 2 great new Spider-Man thrillers. 2 great new supervillains featuring the Vulture and Spider-Man is trapped by the terrible Tinkerer. One of these guys stayed. I think the Tinkerer is the guy who invented the big wheel. That's cool. It's like an animation. Spider-Man, duel to the death with the Vulture. The most colorful superhero of all, Spider-Man. His name makes the underworld tremble, but there is one who does not tremble. What fantastic power can the Vulture have, which makes him sure he can defeat Spider-Man? I've got to say, I love the Vulture in the new Spider-Man movie. It's so good. What a character. This Vulture is interesting, though. I admire his tenacity. For days, a new and ominous danger has menaced the vast city of New York. No man knows where he'll strike next. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's good banter. I've got to say, Mr. Fantastic is hilarious. Thanks for coming along, Farun. You have a good day. I'm going to read a few more chapters, and I'm probably going to finish in an hour or so. But I'm thinking of doing this every Sunday because I'm having some good fun with it. Bye. For days, a new and ominous danger has menaced the vast city of New York. No man knows where he'll strike next. No one can cope with this new, awesome threat without warning, without the slightest sound. He strikes. For this is the Vulture. It's the Vulture. He stole my briefcase with a fortune in bonds. Help! How do they know who he is? It's just been introduced. I've read about him, but never expected to see him. I didn't believe it. I thought he didn't exist. It's impossible. It can't be. How can he fly without a sound, without an effort? He's more like a gigantic bird of prey than a human. I mean, that's kind of what he was going for with that name. and in the of executive suite of the powerful Jameson Publications, Mr. J. Jonah Jameson is on his usual rampage. I want to devote the next entire issue of Now magazine to the Vulture. He's big news. Everyone wants to read about him. But keep printing stories about Spider-Man also. I'll never rest till that that dangerous menace is destroyed. Is this the only photo we have of the Vulture? What's the matter with you men? What am I paying you for? The public wants to see him. Wants pictures of Spider-Man. But Mr. Jameson, nobody can get pictures of him. He's gone before any photographer can get to him. We only have an artist's drawing. No more excuses. Get me pictures of the Vulture, or I'll get some new editors. Meanwhile, in a nearby high school, Peter Parker overhears an interesting discussion as a young science major performs an experiment in the lab. Boy, I'd like to see a close-up photo of the Vulture. A photo of the Vulture would be worth a fortune. Nobody can get close enough to him to snap one. Say, that's an idea. I never thought of it before. Magazines pay big money for hard-to-get photos, and I know how to get them. Big money. Here, Bookworm, take a look at what's going on in the outside world. Or can't you read anything but scientific formulas? That doesn't make sense. Like, he's smart, of course he'd be able to read anything. Very funny, Moose. Moose? At least my brain isn't muscle-bound like that fat head of yours. That's pretty mean. He'd be grinning out of the other side of his mouth if he ever suspected timid Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Now, where was it? Oh, yeah. I'll bet Spider-Man could get close enough to the Vulture to take some pictures. That would pay off. I could use the dough. Parker, I don't expect you to ignore a delicate experiment right in the middle while you pour through a lurid picture magazine. Parker, pay attention. A lurid picture magazine. Wow. As soon as the school ends, the excited teenager rushes home to his Aunt May and is delighted to learn, Here, Peter dear, this miniature camera was your Uncle Ben's. I'm sure he'd have wanted you to have it. Thanks, Aunt May. This little gadget is going to be a great help when it comes to paying our bills. Looks like a digital camera. It's way before they existed. And then, in the privacy of his room, Peter Parker changes into the most dramatic costume figure of all, that of Spider-Man. I'll figure out a way to attach the camera to my costume and then test it out. Meanwhile, in a carefully prepared hideout on the outskirts of the city, very well. So the Park Avenue Jewelry Exchange is moving $1 million worth of diamonds to their new offices across town, eh? Shouldn't be hard for the Vulture to get his hands on those gems. They'll probably be expecting me to try something, but I'll get those gems in a way that no one would ever suspect. Even Spider-Man wouldn't have a chance of stopping me. Well, I've given him an accent there. Oops. After making certain he is not observed, the Vulture darts from his hiding place atop an abandoned silo in Staten Island, just a few seconds from the heart of Manhattan. Now for the first part of my ingenious plan. Seconds later, atop an apartment house where he had been checking his camera, Spider-Man's amazing spider senses pick up a strange sensation. Something coming through the air, but making no sound. It can't be a plane. Not noticing the powerful figure on the rooftop. The Vulture sweeps past. They'll never figure out how I'm going to steal those diamonds. I've got everyone completely baffled. No one has yet discovered how I managed to fly with these artificial wings. What luck, it's the Vulture. I toss some messages while they'll do the most good. The first one is for the Jameson Publishing Company building. My next message is for the radio network. Nothing like better than taunting my enemies. And finally, one for the police chief himself. I'll be gone before they have a chance to read them. The Vulture has never failed to carry out a threat yet, but we must go ahead with the transfer of the diamonds. We can't let the city think that any one criminal can make us change our plans. I shall steal the diamond shipment from under your noses, the Vulture. His handwriting's very neat, though. I did it. Now that I've warned them, my triumph shall be even greater after I've seized the gem. If these photos of the Vulture came out all right, they should be worth a small fortune. But in his eagerness to get a close-up picture of the Vulture, Spider-Man carelessly kicks a loose brick. Again, this is another case of Spider-Man just doing something for money. It's interesting. That sound. There's someone on the roof behind me. I've got to move fast, as only a Vulture can. There. I've got everything adjusted perfectly. Now to... Hey, where did he go? Well, well, so Spider-Man himself is on my trail. Good. It will be amusing to finally face a foe worthy of my mettle. Ugh. Having been momentarily taken by surprise, Spider-Man is stunned and dazed by the Vulture's brutal onslaught. As his merciless foe flies towards a nearby water tower, this is almost too easy. Once I drop him into the water below, he'll never bother me again. With Spider-Man out of the way, the city will be mine. And now I have disposed of that temporary interruption, I'll carry out step 2 of my master plan. Meanwhile, inside the tank, the shock of hitting the cold water instantly revives the powerful Spider-Man. The Vulture somehow trapped me inside this water tank. Well, I've only myself to blame for being so careless. Oh, I'll just shoot my web towards the top and... Oh no, the ejector is empty. I've got to refill it since I used it last. I've been so busy with that camera. I've got to try something else. I can't climb to the top, because it's too wet and slimy even for me to get a toe hold on. By sure as shooting, can't stay afloat here much longer. Not a pleasant choice. I'll either drown or suffocate in it. Wait a minute, what's wrong with me? Why don't I use my head? I can get out of here. My muscles are far stronger than an ordinary human's. There's one little trick that only the Spider-Man can perform. All I've got to do is reach the bottom, squat down, and prepare to hurl myself upward. Like this! I did it! I may not be able to fly like the Vulture, but my spider strength hasn't let me down yet. My luck's still holding out. Here's my camera. Sure is unbelievable how the Vulture manages to fly so swiftly. I'd sure like to figure out how he does it. Later, in his room again. The pictures came out fine. Now, who do I sell them to? Jonah Jameson, the publisher of Now magazine, hates Spider-Man. I'd get a kick out of making him pay good dough for my pictures without knowing I'm the photographer, and so the scam begins. Originally, I designed my Spider-Man costume just to give me some color, so that I could make money as an entertainer. But if I'm really going to be a secret adventurer, I've got to make some changes. First, I'll add an extra web fluid capsule, so I always have enough spider webbing on hand. I'll fashion small containers in my belt to hold additional web fluid cartridges. Oh, so that's when he got the idea for that. Then, when I get paid for my pictures, I'll buy a special miniature camera to secretly attach to my belt buckle. There, the whole contraption fits under my shirt, where it's out of sight and doesn't interfere with my movements. There we go. Peter Parker's starting to look a bit cooler now in the art direction. And now I've got a hunch I know the secret of the Vulture's power of flight. I'll just work on a little device which may come in handy next time we meet. Long hours later. Phew, that was tougher than I expected, but it's finished now. I won't know if it'll work till I try it, but right now I'm going to get some Chateau. The next day, J. Jonah Jameson receives an exciting phone call. What's that? You've got some exclusive photos of the Vulture that you want to sell? Well, don't waste any time talking. Get over here right away. Joe, have them stop the presses. Sorry, Mr. Jameson, cannot be seen by anybody right now. He's having an important conference. These pictures are sensational, great. But how did a kid like you get them? Sorry, sir, I'll sell them to you on condition that you never ask me that question. Okay, you can have your little secret. It doesn't matter how you got them. I think it probably does. The point is, these pictures will make the next issue of Now a sellout. I'll issue a check to you immediately. And remember, Mr. Jameson, I don't want my name used. You can merely give credit to a Now magazine staff photographer. Sure, my boy, sure. And if you get any more great pictures, remember to give me a crack at them. Give me first crack at them. We're always in the market for sensational photos. In fact, if you can ever get a picture of that public menace, Spider-Man, brother, wouldn't you be surprised if you knew? The next day at school lets out. Come on, Peter. We're all going to watch them move the diamonds from Park Avenue Jewelry Exchange. We're hoping to get a glimpse of the Vulture. Don't be scared, Bookworm. We'll protect you. See, Flash isn't so mean. You don't really think the Vulture would dare try anything with all the police there, do you? Gosh, the whole area is cordoned off. And look, TV cameras, newspaper and police. It's like a carnival. The Vulture would be nuts to try anything with a crowd like this around. This is one time he won't make good of his boast. It is hard to see how the Vulture would have a chance at the jewels under these conditions. There are police on every roof, and an armed helicopter flying overhead. I better make myself scarce. If I have the chance to If I have to change to Spider-Man, I won't be able to do it in the middle of this mob. Look, gang, little Petey is chickening out. Guess the excitement is too much for his delicate little self. I quite like Flash's jumper there. It's a shame the collar's stuck up, but I would definitely wear that jumper. Minutes later, the valuable jewelry shipment starts its cross-town convoy, accompanied by patrol cars and the police whirlybird following above. I wish the Vulture would make a try for these diamonds, Chuck. We'd nab him for sure. Yeah, but he won't show. He's too smart for that. It's all clear. Start bringing the jewels out. Not a sign of the Vulture. He knows he wouldn't have a chance. The sky's clear, except for our own chopper up there. Looks like the whole thing was a false alarm. But stay alert anyhow. With a character like the Vulture, you never know what's going to happen next. Gentlemen, you are so right. And now I'll take those diamonds. The Vulture, but how? We expected an attack from above. Before the startled officers can fire, the wily Vulture plummets back underground, dropping the manhole cover into place above him. Then, that's pretty clever. I'll be miles away before they can even lift the manhole cover, and they'll never know which of these twisting tunnels I'm flying through. A short time later, at the other end of town, a triumphant Vulture decides to leave his underground lair as dramatically as possible. Look, the Vulture! He just flew out of the big subway tunnel. This will give the fools something to talk about for years to come. How simple it was, it worked like a charm, and now how I've vanished over the rooftops before the police can even begin to converge at this point. Meanwhile, learning what has occurred, Peter Parker manages to find a deserted alley, and then, moving with blinding speed, he did it. He fooled everyone, even me. But I'll find him. If I can get some new pictures of him now, I'll be able to name my own price for them. The thing I like best about being Spider-Man is scaling these sheer walls. I don't think I'll ever stop getting a charge out of it. And now, if the Vulture is anywhere in the area, my spider senses will detect him. Oh, I'm beginning to get a tingle now. What a break. There he is now. It will be a cinch for me to follow him, using my web to swing from building to building. But, as luck would have it, the Vulture chooses to look behind him at that very second, and better check to see if there's any police helicopters. Or what the? It's Spider-Man. He's free, and he's following me. He's too dangerous. I've got to get rid of him for good. First, I'll execute a fast loop-the-loop, which will put me behind him. Holy smoke! Where'd he go? He couldn't have flown away so fast. Wait, I feel the vibrations in the air behind me. The Vulture must have doubled back behind me somehow. Let me have another drink. Forewarned by his fabulous spider senses, Spider-Man wheels about in time to avoid the full impact of the Vulture's swooping dive, but one powerful wing sends the colourful clad figure toppling from the edge of the roof. No, you don't. This time I'm ready for you. What? He hit my foot with that accursed web of his. Pulling himself up, hand over hand, the mighty Spider-Man manages to get within grabbing distance of the Vulture's ankle, and then, got you. You fool. Here in the sky where I'm in my element. We're in my element. I'll shake you off and be rid of you for good. Talk is cheap, Birdman. This time, I'm sticking. And now to test out my little gadget, here's hoping it works. So he's starting to give some quips, and he's starting to give some fairly witty replies. And now to test out my little gadget, here's hoping it works. I did it. We're out of control. I've beaten you. What did you do? I can't stay afloat. You'll kill us both. Speak for yourself, mister. The sky is my element as much as yours. Just watch. I can always save myself by shooting my web at a nearby building, like this. As for the Vulture, he'll manage to break his fall by spiraling down, but he's going to have a tough time ever using those wings again. Here comes the police helicopter. They must have sighted us when we were battling. This is my chance to get some exclusive pics of the capture of the Vulture. Take her down, Charlie. We were right. This is the Vulture. Can't get up. Wind knocked out of me. What will I do? If this doesn't take the cake. Whoever thought we'd be able to capture the vulture so nice and easy? What happened, fella? Did you have a tailspin? Please, no jokes. These pictures should be prize winners. That does it. Now to get the shots to Jameson and ask for a top dollar for them. Let's go, Birdman. We'll get you to headquarters and find out once and for all how you managed to fly the way you did. It's interesting because Birdman is the name of a movie with Michael Keaton in it, and Michael Keaton played the Vulture in the Spider-Man movie. What a coincidence. If they asked me, I could have told them. The absence of noise gave me the clue. I suspected that he'd discovered a way to harness magnetic power. That's why my gadget made him fool. It's an anti-magnetic inverter, and it worked. Then, as the next day dawns, tell me, Parker, you a magician? How does a teenager like you manage to get pictures of what our best staff photos would give their eye teeth for? Eye teeth? Remember our deal, Mr. Jameson. That's my secret. Now, if you don't want the pics. It's funny. Are you out of your mind? With pictures like these, I could almost stand living in the city with Spider-Man. Take a bonus and go out and buy yourself some Twist records. Twist records? Okay. He thinks I'm just a typical teenager. Good. That's the way I like it. And this wad of bills he paid me is also what I like also. Upon reaching his home, Aunt May, this money means you're not going to be able to worry about anything again. I paid the rent for a full year, and tomorrow I'm buying the newest kitchen appliances you ever drooled over. Oh, Pete, I'm so proud of you. It's just like your Uncle Ben always said. You're the most wonderful boy in the world. Oh, that's nice. It's good to see things go well for him. Well, in a lonely cell, the Vulture here has a slightly different opinion of my hero. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for that accursed Spider-Man. But sooner or later I'll get free, and I'll develop a flying power that he cannot overcome. And then, Spider-Man, it will be my turn to float. Why is he wearing his costume in prison? Surely they wouldn't let him wear that. I'm going to leave it here today. I hope you've all enjoyed some amazing Spider-Man. We're up to issue 2, story 2. I think I'm going to save the rest for another day. Because I'm enjoying it, but I don't want to do too much and lose my voice because I've got to do some teaching tomorrow. So, thanks everyone. Hope you've enjoyed this stream as much as I've enjoyed streaming it. Thank you, and please come back anytime. As I say, I'm going to probably return to this on Monday, so thank you.